Time, late night on a Friday night, the Mississippi Gridiron scoreboard show for you. Real quick here, we'll roll through the top 10 scores for the state overall, also for the MAIS, and for most of the classes. Maybe not all the classes, but we'll get to most of them. And also our top 10 games for the week. Appreciate Brandon Shields for putting that together for us. Here at what time is it? 10:43 here on a Friday night. That's not that bad. Not that bad. It takes a little while to get the scores in. So y'all bear with me. On your screen, you'll also notice that if you message the show on Facebook, on X, or on what else is this on? It's on X. We're streaming on Facebook. We're streaming on, I believe it's on YouTube. And if you shoot a message to any of those, I'll see it. Now, look, with the click of a button, I could do this. We could put this on the screen. However, when I do that, I mean, I'm not positive what you're going to send me. What if you send me something bad? Make me look bad. But I might throw that back on there a minute. If we get a bunch of messages coming through here, I'll throw that on the screen. Absolutely. If you have top performers, anything like that, any scores you want to get to, or whatever, you want to get to anything. We'll roll through this, hopefully about 15 minutes. The show is brought to you by Capital Ortho, capitalortho.com, by Soundcom, that's sound and communication, soundcomav.com, and by Malone Roofing Services, ecmalone.com, always brought to you by The Rogue in Jackson, my good friend Luke Abney. Appreciate the shirt here. Cowboy Country Club hoodie. I just showed my son. Now Caleb wants one. I offered Caleb a spot on the show tonight, and he's not having it, man. Not having it. I mean, he has an opportunity here to be a semi-celebrity, and Caleb's not having it, so that's okay. He had a doubleheader today for Colin playing down. I think they played at Sela, but he played Delgado. But he didn't have it. And then we're also brought to you by Country Pleasing Sausage and Country Meat Packers down in Florence. Big day tomorrow with college football. Get down to Florence, Mississippi. Henry Cooper, get some Country Pleasing Sausage or get whatever you want out of the store. It's a pretty awesome place at Country Meat Packers. Appreciate them being part of the show. Okay, real quick here. Let's roll through some of the scores. I saw several of these games. Saw 3 tonight. Tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this on the screen here. As these messages roll through, you guys can see them, okay? Right off the bat, Tupelo Oxford, great game, close the whole way. I believe Tupelo buried themselves early, got behind 13-0. I believe that's how that went. I'm in a time crunch here, so this was from a real quick look over everything. And then Tupelo comes back and wins. Oxford is young, but Oxford is very talented. Good quarterback, skill guys, young wide receivers, and they do have some older guys that are talented. They didn't have a whole lot of, I'd say they don't have a ton of senior depth. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong there, but from what I remember from their preview this summer, but they had a lot of young talent coming in. So you were going to have this really good mix of young guys with the older guys. And I've been watching Oxford to see what they look like at the end of the year. But man, they put a scare in Tupelo tonight. Oxford's for real. Chris Cutcliffe has a really good bunch there. The Chargers are for real. Keep an eye on them. That's not product placement. That's just Propel. Brandon struggles on the road against Clay Chalkville over in Alabama. 47-15 is your score there. And I mean, that was rough. Brandon has struggled offensively this year. They fall to 2-2 with the loss to Clay Chalkville. They beat Clinton last week, but go on the road and lose tonight, and they'll regroup next week. They can't remember who they have next week. I have to go back and look. West Point was off. Noxubee County, I'll get to that in a minute. Grenada beats Cleveland Central 21-12. That was a tough game, but I knew that would be. Cleveland Central is a good football team. Here's a big one. Number 5 Picayune, they fall to number 6 Ocean Springs 56-42. Hey, Ocean Springs could be legit this year. So keep an eye out for them. They've been close. You know, a team on the coast in 7A or the highest classification, it was 6A. Now it's 7A. They haven't been able to get to a state championship game. But Ocean Springs has been close. They've consistently been able to get, you know, one step away. And maybe this is the year that they can get there. You go on the road, and I believe that game was on the road. You go on the road and beat Picayune, you've done something. And I see scores still checking in here. I'll get to those here in just a minute. Thanks for all the messages, though. Appreciate you guys listening. I'll try to get through this for you so we don't take up a whole lot of time. Big win for Ocean Springs. They came in ranked number 6. Starkville at number 7 beat Louisville 36 to, did I say Louisville like college? That's a bad mistake. Rookie mistake, Chris. Louisville. And the longer you can drag that out, the syllables, the better. 36 to 16. Starkville's good. I caught some heat for leaving them in the rankings the way we did. But I heard even before the season started that Kingston Johnson had a chance to be the best quarterback in the state. It was just a question of whether or not their defense would be good enough soon enough. And they hold Louisville to 16 tonight. That's a big time effort, man. So congrats to Starkville on a big win. Oxford, Tupelo. Oxford was number 8. So it's not like Tupelo was facing a team that was off the radar. That's the first loss for Oxford. And Tupelo remains undefeated. Here's a shocker. Brookhaven at number 9. They had a big win last week at home over Madison Central, but they lose to Macomb 18 to 16. Macomb's been really good for a long time, but especially the last several years. But I'm surprised at that because, you know, I'm talking to somebody today. I thought Brookhaven was as talented as anybody out there. Maybe not as deep as some of the teams, but Brookhaven is really good, and they pick up their first loss to Macomb. So congrats to the Tigers. That's a big one. And Columbia at number 10, they beat JDC, Jefferson Davis County, 44 to 27. So congrats to Coach Bilderback as they remain undefeated on the season. That moves them to 4-0. Beat Petal last week convincingly, and then they beat JDC tonight. And we'll get to Petal here in a minute. I want to roll over real quick to the MAIS and go through those, and then we'll get to these on the screen, and we'll get to some of these other, you know, bigger classifications to kind of wrap up the show. JA beats Hartfield big 44 to 22. 41 to 22. That's just a case that Hartfield ran out of gas. Hartfield's not as deep this year. They still have some prime talent, but just not as much depth. And JA, of course, is deeper this year, and JA is really good. This sets up a huge game next week, and we'll get to their opponent in a minute. But that game was close at the half. JA stretched it out, I believe, right before the half. Maybe it was a very close game. JA takes the lead 10-7 right before half, and then they're able to tack on another touchdown, I believe on a punt return or some type return. I believe it was a punt return. And they take that to the house, make it 17-7 at the half, and then, you know, second half they run away with it. But that sets up a matchup next week. MRA beats Jackson Prep 49 to 21. I saw a quarter of this one, and I've been telling people all year, you know, JA is very good. This is a different Jackson Academy team. But MRA is still the same MRA that we're getting every year. I don't know if they're top 10 in the state or top 5. They could be. They pick up a big win tonight over Jackson Prep, 49 to 21, and they were up big at the half. But they're, very good offensive line, defensive line. They have wide receivers. Sam Stockett has thrown for a ton of yards. MRA is very good. So we'll see them against JA. I believe that game, somebody correct me if I'm wrong here if you're listening, I believe that game's at JA, I think. Hope I didn't tell you wrong there, but that's a huge matchup in the academies. Park Lane big over Bowling Green, 42-0. Hartfield was ranked number 4. They lose to JA tonight. Jackson Prep was 5. They lose to MRA tonight. Of course, Hartfield lost to JA. Copiah Academy loses to Heritage 30 to 29. Mag Heights picks up a big win over Pillow Academy, 42-14. Magnolia Heights remains undefeated. Lamar School 34-6 over East Rankin to go to 4-1. I believe that's a homecoming game too for Lamar. Heritage Academy, of course, with the big win over Capaya. They came in number 9. And then our number 10 MAIS team was Tri-County, and they win big over Kirk, 55-6. Few other scores from your larger classifications. Horn Lake was ranked. Let's see where, if I can see where. No, I don't have that pulled up. Horn Lake is in our top 10 in 7A, and they played Lake Cormorant tonight. Horn Lake picks up a 19-14 win. Horn Lake is good, man. It's great to see them good again. Remember, they won a state championship, I guess now 5 years ago, maybe, when they had N'Kobe Dean, and then they struggled. Head coach retired, and they've struggled. But the last couple of years, they're on the comeback, and they have a good team this year. Clinton beats Pearl 27-20. Ryan, thanks for sending me that one here on the I almost called it a text line, not a text line, on the message machine. How about that? We'll add a sponsor to that. But Pearl puts up a big fight against Clinton, but they fall 27-20. Madison Central beats Northwest Rankin 31-24. I saw some of that. I got there at the half, and just from what talking on the sidelines to people, Northwest Rankin had a shot at this. And honestly, I think both teams struggled a little bit, kind of shot themselves in the foot. Northwest Rankin was down 31-17. They had a touchdown in the fourth quarter, but they come up short against Madison Central. Northwest Rankin has a good football team. It'll be interesting to see. You don't want to finish fourth in that region, because fourth, you go on the road to play what looks like Ocean Springs. And that's going to be a tough matchup. You want to try to get to that 3 spot somehow. Brandon, Oak Grove, and then you're talking Northwest Rankin, Petal, and Pearl battling out for those 3 and 4 slots. Petal beats Gulfport tonight 25-24. So congrats, Coach Broyles, for a big win down on the coast. Gulfport's tailback just got an offer from got a big one now. It's I believe Auburn, maybe. Had a Cooper Crosby, talented running back for Gulfport, but they lose to Petal tonight, 25-24. Warren Central in a rivalry game over Vicksburg, 34-15. Ridgeland over Yazoo City, 48-20. I saw the first quarter of that one, and it looked like Ridgeland was going to be dominant in that game. Noxubee County, a big one over Shannon, 28-6. Choctaw County, a big one over Kemper County, 50-36. Choctaw County's good. They might win the thing again. And I'll get to these questions. I see them coming in. We'll go through that here in just a minute. I only have a few more scores. 3 or 4 more. Poplarville over Pearl River Central, 49-14. Poplarville is going to be hard to beat. Senatobia over Calhoun City, 17-14. And Eupora, 52-28. A big win for them tonight. Okay, now some of these scores, let's go back to the top here. Hattiesburg, 23-6 over Biloxi. Appreciate that, Chip. Hattiesburg has talent. Hattiesburg's wide receiver hasn't played this year. I'd be interested to know if he played tonight. Big time talent. Obviously, with him out of the lineup, that hurt them. South Jones over Quitman, 42-20. Appreciate that, Keith. South Jones is having a good year. Columbia JDC score we got to. Let me see if I can find this Laurel score for you real quick before we go to some commentary here real quick before we get off the show. I don't see a Laurel score. Here we go. Nope, that's not our Laurel. Laurel didn't play Northwest, or they did they? Yeah, they did. No, that's not our Laurel. That's Laurel out of did not know there was a Laurel, Maryland. Learn something new every day. Do not see a Laurel score anywhere on social media. Sorry about that. If anybody has it, send it to me. Message, a reply on X, or send us a comment on Facebook. It'll pop up here on the feed. Best team in the state, without a doubt, I appreciate it due to fact, without a doubt, it's Tupelo. Tupelo is not a perfect team. we'll see what happens with them at quarterback. Of course, their quarterback has been out. He's a defensive back committed to Ole Miss. I'm drawing a blank here. Is it Brendan Williams? Am I remembering that wrong? Somebody correct me if I am. But a big time athlete committed to Ole Miss as a DB. But you can imagine him under center and his legs with J.J. Hill, with that whole backfield that has as many as 3 SEC guys in it. Look, that could be 4 if you count the quarterback. But they don't have a traditional quarterback at Tupelo this year. So we'll see how that plays out. But other than that, defensively, they're top notch. But I mean, Oxford gave them a scare tonight. So you can't say they're unbeatable. Brandon hung with them in the season opener, even though that got, out of hand late. But it's Tupelo right now. Then after them, after Brandon struggled tonight, I'm probably going to drop them. I don't like dropping teams in the rankings when they go out of state and lose, because what does that really mean? So, especially when they schedule like a big time opponent. But at the same time, Brandon's offense has struggled this year, and West Point's sitting there undefeated. We'll probably move them up to 2. Grenada will know, I believe, the next few weeks they have some tough opponents. They beat Cleveland Central tonight, but we'll see. Picayune is really good, but losing to Ocean Springs, I mean, do we possibly move Ocean Springs up into that number 2 spot? Maybe. That's a possibility. Coach Bramlett's done a great job there. I mean, Ocean Springs is legit. Now, I'm talking to somebody this morning about Picayune, a couple of big-time offensive linemen, probably the best offensive lineman in the state, and good running backs. Nolan Wilson on the defensive side, at one of the defensive linemen. They're good, man. Man, I got a message from a buddy of mine. Can I read this one? I'm not going to give you the name, but let me tell you why I'm reading this one. Watching the Gridiron show, it's annoying how good you are at this. Those kinds of messages get you read out over the live stream. That's the kind of messaging I'm talking about. Appreciate that. Oh, I almost dropped your name. I'm not going to do it to you, though. I don't want to scare anybody because I don't want to get any messages. But I did think I'd silence that phone. But back to the top team. Have Cottonmouth here. Look, I'm getting older, and I went from one game to another game to a third game tonight. That's a lot of steps for an old guy. Probably dehydrated here. It could be Ocean Springs. I mean, they could. Yeah, RT QB suspended, was a dual threat at Nettleton. Yeah, he did pass for a lot of yards at Nettleton, but slower classification. And look, Nettleton's a good program, but he's not going to be a college quarterback. But at the same time, when you have that much talent in the backfield, and if you've seen Tupelo play, which I have, they're enormous. So anybody, if you can just forward pass at all with what they have in the backfield, you can imagine how hard they'd be to stop. But they're having to play J.J. Hill at quarterback right now. And if they get that fixed, then, good luck hanging with Tupelo this year. But we'll see how that pans out. But Ocean Springs, maybe that's a team that could jump up. I'm watching Starkville just because of what I've heard about their quarterback. And I've heard that, in particular, their young talent that's coming up, 10th grade, junior class is very talented. And if you've watched Kingston Johnson at all at quarterback, there's clips of him out there, like big time talent, super fast, but also has a big arm. Like the kid can really play. If their defense comes around, maybe they can scare them. But right now, you're talking Tupelo. I'm just talking teams I'd probably have in a top 5. Oxford could be in there. Brookhaven, I'm shocked they lost tonight to Macomb. Nothing against Macomb. It's just kind of more what I thought about Brookhaven. But that's kind of where we are this year. Tupelo, and then probably 4 to 5 teams that are close. And the teams that are close, you're talking Madison Central, Starkville, what Oak Grove can do. Maybe they're playing better by the end of the season. What Ocean Springs can do, what Oxford could do, that's 5 right there after Tupelo. But without a doubt, Tupelo is the odds-on favorite to go back to back. West Harrison over Laurel 53-20 is your score. That's from Eddie. Appreciate that, Eddie. Anybody have any other questions before we get out of here? Because now we're approaching about 20 minutes, right at 20 minutes on the live stream. And I really try to keep this 15 to 20 minutes so I can podcast it. It'll be up in the morning. I'm looking through one more time through social media to see if I missed anything, but I think I knocked it out. Okay. I'm probably going to put out some more content in the morning for top performers. I need to see what everybody did tonight, what the numbers look like. For instance, I had a chance to see the Madison Central Northwest Ranking game. Last week, running back for Northwest Ranking Germany, Hayden ran for 250 plus. Sam Stockett threw for 500 plus last week. Those are the kind of top performers I'm looking for. And as I go through them tonight, we'll put up some more content in the morning. But as always, thanks to our sponsors, Soundcom, to Capital Ortho, Country Please and Sausage, Malone Roofing Services, and the Rogue in Jackson. Always appreciate them. Appreciate y'all tuning in. And a couple of other things, I'll get back with you. Some big news for a few things that we're working on with our high school coverage that I'm really excited about. But we'll get back to you guys on that later. All right, hey, y'all have a good night. Always appreciate you. God bless. Last thing just hit me. I hate that I did this at the end. Praying for the people at Mississippi Delta and Emmanuel Cooks. I hate that I ended the show basically and people log off. I was at the game with Hines hosting Mississippi Delta yesterday. And I'm snapping pictures of this kid, big offensive lineman from Alabama, I believe. And then I'm shocked to see afterwards this morning, the kid after the game, I believe the messaging was just from medical complications, passed away. And I'm going through pictures when I'm reading it. That's a kid on my computer I'm taking pictures of and just put him online. And then I'm reading that he passed. Look, we are not promised tomorrow. And our days are numbered. I put that on social media today. Make the most of them. Every time I see that, I always am thinking, I hope these kids, and look, now more than ever, this next generation of kids coming through, they have a hunger for the Lord. And I see kids all over my feed all the time talking about their relationship with Jesus Christ and, what he's done for them. And, man, it's exciting. Like the next generation of kids, there's something going on there. But then I see that and, man, it just breaks your heart. So definitely thinking about our friends from Mississippi Delta and the whole junior college league. I hate to see that. Praying for Emmanuel Cook's family and everybody there at Delta. And you guys, same. Keep them in your thoughts and prayers. But that's going to do it for the show tonight. As always, God bless you guys and enjoy some football tomorrow. Talk to you later.